Thank you. You're here. It's beautiful. It's hot. It's muggy. It's incredible. Minnesota crazy weather days. Oh, yes, those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. Are you old enough to remember that song? Okay, well, if you aren't, then that means you're not as old as me. It's great to be back here. I am excited to introduce to you the young lady that I was talking about to all of you last time I was in. And she's going to get up and sing in just a minute, but I thought that I would just preface by saying we had such an incredible time with her at her 13th birthday party. And for those of you who weren't at the service that I spoke at in the end of February, she decided that she was going to celebrate her 13th birthday by doing something for others and to give back. And she really was torn by watching people on the street. Mom, where do they go to sleep? How do they eat? What can I do? And we talked about this. I've been her coach for about a year and a half, vocal coach. I didn't need to teach this girl how to sing, believe me. You had it. You were born with a gift. And so anyway, they created the concept for this concert in St. Paul on that day. And a lot of you know that, and one lovely gentleman even gave me a donation to give, which I did. And this is really fun for me because I used her as part of my talk. During that month of February, it was about being the change that you wish to see in the world. And I talked a great deal about Gandhi and how I have that refrigerator magnet. You can get it next door and be the change you wish to see in the world. And isn't it just true? We always expect the world to come and fill us up and do this for us, and then we're going to feel better. There's always that piece out here that we're climbing towards. My hunch is a lot of you have experienced that, and that the reason you're sitting in this, I'll call sanctuary, is because you are seekers, and you are ones who have wanted more information about how to truly find that joy, that bliss, that peace that lives in each and every one of us. As a child of God, that is our right. That is our birthright. And so most people all focus on this piece out here, this place, this destination, right? And you've heard the expression, and it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. And when you think back on it and you have come through whatever your challenge might be, work, family, health, name it, I'm sure there's some others there. It seems as though when I get to my destination, so to speak, when I look back, I can see all the ways in which I was learning through that course, where that journey got me to a more wise woman. I was a wiser woman at the destination. I don't know that I'm at the destination, to be honest with you. It's morphed. My goal, my destination has morphed through the years. But in listening to the song that Emily's going to sing for you in just a little while, I fell in love with this song. I heard Aaron Schwab singing it at a church service. I said, what is that song? Because it was so powerful. She said to me on the QT afterwards, you're never going to believe who wrote this song. And I went, who? Or performed it, whatever. Miley Cyrus. Did she write it? I don't know if she wrote it or not, but she made this song famous. And it isn't in a lot of circles, but one young lady at the 100th anniversary of the Girl Scouts last year sang this tune too. And you really dig your teeth and your brain, you wrap it around the lyric, and that a young person is delivering it, and a young, not only today, but Miley herself, delivering this kind of message to people who are out there on the search, reminds you that it's about the climb, it's about what you're learning, how you're growing, the people you're meeting, the beautiful things you're seeing on your way up to the destination that climb brings you to. Now, how does this all work with sacred reunion? Well, along the way, you have many reunions, don't you? Along the way, we have reunions with not just people, but reunions with how you first felt when you saw the most blue sky you've ever seen, or the most gorgeous turquoise ocean, or the most perfectly unfolded flower. And when I think about the divine and the sacred reunion, I'm thinking about all of those times that when you do look and experience the little things, it's about the little things that bring you back to that sense of peace and love, and that is where your God center is. That's where your reunion is with the divine, with the energy, with that love. And so I'll talk about this a little bit more. Why don't we hear a song from my wonderful darling, oh my yes, Emily Albert-Stauning right now. We did a Mother's Day concert together last year with Peterson. I believe she's spoken here too. Debbie Duncan and a bunch of women jazz musicians. It was very fun. So, Emily.
I can almost see it in that dream I'm dreaming, but and there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. Always gotta be
Well, Emily, before you step down, I just want to ask you a couple of questions because I'm sure everybody is wondering. You had your goal, you were very touched by the people that you saw, and you wanted to do something for them. What did that do to you when you watched people who were maybe less fortunate than, or your eyes just became open to it for the first time? Well, how did that make you feel?
Well, you know, it made me feel really sad, but it also really inspired me to help them, and it made me feel like, you know what, I want to make a difference in the world, and I want to make a change. And I saw this quote by Gandhi, as you were talking about earlier, be the change you want to see in the world, and I think that's kind of what that benefit concert was about. And it was really wonderful because I had all these wonderful performers like Miss Patty and my friends and my little sister and my dad up on stage with me, and it was the best thing ever.
So, when you saw the people come out for that goal that you had of having people come out and make a difference with you, help you make a difference, what did that feel like to see the people in your audience?
Oh, that was the best thing ever. That was so much fun. It touched my heart. It was beautiful.
And what about all of the musicians? Was everybody as excited as you were for that purpose too? It looked like
oh
it
yeah,
to me.
everybody was so excited. It was really, really fun.
And can you tell me what you raised?
Oh, we raised $1,300 for the Family Place, which is a center and shelter that helps homeless people in St. Paul or Minneapolis, I can't quite remember. And then Second Harvest Heartland, we raised for over 400 pounds of food for them, and that's a food shelf. So it was really, really fun.
I want to give her a round of applause for her visualization and her follow-through and the follow-through of the family. It's inspirational. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I had to talk about her, and that's why I had to bring her. You know, it's interesting because Gandhi is definitely one who really always worked every day about creating that sacred and that divine in his personal life. And we can talk about, I mean, we can really talk about the fact that I'm going to get just really analytical on you. Sacred, the definition of sacred is something related to religion or something treated with great respect. An example of sacred is holy water. An example of sacred is a prized collection you dearly love and you expect everyone to treat carefully and respectfully. Sacred, holy ground, you know, there's different synonyms there. And reunion, the definition of a reunion is the act of two or more people coming back together, or gathering of people who've been away from each other. I've got my 40th high school reunion this summer, my gosh. That'll be happening. Summer family reunions. There's also the reunion of your loved ones once you make the transition. That is the ultimate sacred reunion, isn't it? I could get up here and talk to you about that sacred reunion of the male and the female within each and every one of us, but the truth is, I'm still studying that one, so I can't speak to that, but that is that wholeness in which we choose to live our life, that integration of the male and the female within each every one of us. So, Gandhi. Back to Gandhi. There is a book and a person who has a book called Gandhi the Man, and then The Compassionate Universe, and he talks a little bit about Gandhi, and if you don't mind, I'm going to read to you a little bit. When you think about this particular person, and I don't know about you, but when I was a young person, I did not really actively sit and watch 3-hour movies. But when that movie came out with Ben Kingsley, I could not peel myself away from it. I couldn't believe that someone would stay that strong, to stay that loving and compassionate. If you've got downtime, rent it. It's old, but find it, because it's remarkable. And the acting, his acting, just remarkable. He was a flame of love. Gandhi was the pioneer in these new realms of consciousness. Everything he did was an experiment in expanding the human's capacity to love. And as his capacity grew, the demands on his love grew more and more severe, as if to test the limits that a human being can bear. But Gandhi had learned to find a fierce joy in all of those storms and trials. And by the end of his life, he was a flame filled with love. I think that's beautiful. Eknath Eswaran, am I saying that right? Has anybody read that? That's the author. Another thing about Gandhi is he expanded all his energy in service of others. Late in Gandhi's life, a Western journalist asked, Mr. Gandhi, you've been working 15 hours a day for 50 years. Don't you ever feel like taking a few weeks off and going on a vacation? And Gandhi laughed and said, why? I am always on vacation, because he had no personal irons in the fire and no selfish concerns involved in the work that he was doing. There was no conflict in his mind to drain his energy, he felt. And lastly, he gave his mission the best shot. Full effort is full victory, said Gandhi. You need not be troubled if you have made mistakes or if your ideal has just slipped away. Just continue to give your best. If you fall, pick yourself up and march on. It's about the climb. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Nothing in life is more joyful or more thrilling. The effort alone brings a continuing wave of joy in which every personal problem, every suffering and humiliation is forgotten. And that is being in service to others. Well, that sounds a little bit like to be the change you wish to see in the world. Well, it truly is. But how do we be the change that we wish to see within each and every one of us, inside of ourselves? And I've talked about this many times. I think that there is that aspect of having an attachment to the outcome of something. And when we perceive, and that's all it is perception, when we perceive things to be good or bad, we can embody that energy within us. And therefore, the filter we have now put in our slide projector, is one of, look at the blue sky. Oh, my rose-colored glasses are really working today. Or, you know what, when they get to my house, they're not going to have anything done that I wanted them to do, and I am not happy about it. And doggone it, that's the way I'm going to meet them at the door. Well, that's an expression of a personal relationship. It could be other things, needless to say. The whole point is, how do you get to the sacred reunion? It's all about what happens for you when you find that godlike peace in your life and you take that breath, that different breath that maybe you achieve when you're in meditation. Here, meditation in your daily lives. What is it for you? The woman who wrote Everyday Sacred talked a lot about the simple things, you know, how testing yourself to see if when you are out on your daily path that you can actually take a look and see if you find a four-leaf clover. Or if you've got a little kid in your life, when you look at the clouds, trying to explain them in the sky, what that does to you. You know, I did it with my four sons. I held my granddaughter as she's 4. We went to go watch my niece dance last night. She fell asleep like that to Pachelbel. It was so cute. Those are the moments that something comes over me and I feel that reunion and that peace and that I'm on the right track. I feel that peace that is that loving energy of God. I feel that reunion. I'm not caught here. I don't have the tornado going on. And believe me, it's been a week of tornadoes. Oh boy. Something very interesting. The night before Mother's Day, my mom went in the hospital, and I was having a long conversation with a dear friend who just lost his mom. And we were just talking about the simple things towards the end of life, and how somehow you forget the past. And it isn't like you gotta drudge this stuff up. Some people feel like they need to, but for him, like my feeling with my mom, and my mom is frail, but her end of life is not anywhere near. But the simple thing about sitting next to them, or when Mother was at home, she has a double bed, crawling in her bed and watching television with her. I can't tell you the last time I did that. I do it with my kids or my grandkids. It's like, what was that, you know? There's the feeling, there's that sacred reunion. With her, yes, but with that, it's almost like the rest of the world goes away. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Am I kind of all over the place? I'm sorry if I am, but there is those moments in time where the everyday sacred comes into who and what we are, and that we know that our God Center is alive. You know, it is in the act of actually reaching out and helping somebody, needless to say. That fills us and gets our mind off our own issues, our own depression, our own lack. You know, maybe it actually, that contrast shows us all the things that we should and can be grateful for. Love that word, contrast. But there's so many ways in which we can look to see that expression of life, that blue water, that bird in the sky, my cardinal that comes to me at this house and sings to me on my deck after 22 years, and I talk right back to it, wondering, will you follow me in my next house? You know, and I went to go find a new house, and what flew on the deck? And the bird feeder put the brightest cardinal I've ever seen. So those little tiny things that make you so happy, we can embrace those things. We can embrace those as things that make us feel that joy. And what is that joy? What is that joy? It comes back to that God-centered self. And it is those little gifts that we get to truly experience on the climb. You know, sometimes I can't think about that climb anymore. I can't think about packing up my house. I can't think about unpacking another one, living at my mother's house, getting my mother maybe out of a care center, some of the diagnoses she's had. You know, you stay there and pretty soon it's like, could I just shut down? I can't hear one more word today. Tuesday, I couldn't have one more meeting with doctors and social workers and make up your mind right now. It's crazy. And then I've shifted now. I've shifted. And it's a miracle to me sometimes how that shift happens and you're not really looking at it. To me it was, I'm going to treat my mom like my mom. I'm not going to treat her like her diagnosis. And I remember doing that when I was doing healing work on a regular basis. I'm a graduate of Echo Bodines. Is that I had a cancer patient come to me on purpose because she was living her life as, I have cancer, I'm sharing. In my energy work, I was so clear that I needed to help her put her name and her being first. And then, oh, by the way, I have cancer. And when we worked together, her husband said to me, what did you do to her? And I said, nothing. I listened. We changed focus. We appreciated what was going on along the climb, along the destination. And you have had those experiences in your life, I'm sure. I mean, the thing for me is, being a seeker, and you're all seekers because we're all sitting here together, it was that I had to get drop kicked a little bit in life in my 30s in order for me to be able to go, okay, there's got to be more answers out there than this. There's got to be people who have books out there, CDs. You know, I can tell you some of my favorite people: Marianne Williamson and Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and Caroline Myss and Ariel Ford. These are just a few of the people who got me through that 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak. Bible, love that thing. It reads differently every time. But it all helps me with that divine reunion inside of myself. It tells me I'm going to be okay because it helps me with this different perspective on what it is, what my challenge is, what I'm going through. It's usually about some kind of betrayal, professionally, personally. You know, sometimes it can be a health issue. It's a betrayal too. But I think this divine reunion thing, it isn't just necessarily about making the transition, and you know that that's truly been on my mind for a long time because I have been my mother's caregiver. And you see the changes in someone, and you know that their time is measured. All of ours are, obviously. Sometimes we expect it, sometimes we don't. And then you wonder, how can I get to the place where I can find those times of peace, of joy, where I can continue on in the climb, where I can, or for me, I use the expression climb to the top of the rung of the ladder because of everything I've gone through, allows me to look down and see how everything is interconnected. And when I'm not feeling that ability to be able to do that in life, I know I'm back down. Maybe I'm starting up a new ladder, you know. But everything is right here, and I don't have perspective. I lose my perspective. When I work on climbing to that top of the ladder and look down, I see how it connects. I see how, because I learned this thing over here, it helped this person, or this, or this, or this. You will go through this. You will go through this. You will learn these things. And so you wonder, besides meditation, laughter yoga, yoga in general, all of these wonderful things that we now have a lot more available to us as part of this is how we heal ourselves in this culture. You wonder, how can I get there? If you've never started before and you're here and you're curious. Well, hang out today for starters. That would be the first thing you could do is go, first of all, feel the energy. Feel the energy downstairs. What does that mean? What's energy mean? When you walk into a place of ultimate love, or you are with your mom kissing the top of her head, or you're with that baby hold, there is a love that expands. Do you know what I mean? You've got your own experiences you can touch on right now. That expands you, and what else really matters in that moment. That is a resonance. That is a feeling. And when you get around a lot of like-minded people, you fill the whole room, and the angels come to be with us as we experience that vibration of love and joy. But some of you might not know exactly how to go about doing that. And I want to tell you about one of the things that I came across, which I thought was really helpful, and I'd never come across this before. And that is a website called spiritualityandpractice.com. Has anybody ever gone to this site? I'd never heard of it. Not like I knew everything, but, you know, it lists books, it lists practices, it lists inspirational quotes. I started just digging to see Everyday Sacred, Marianne Williamson, Gandhi. There was so much already involved in there. But what I really liked is they have some things on here as far as spiritual practices that if you haven't tried something to try to attain that feeling, you might just think about some of these things. Oh, what is spiritual practices? Spiritualityandpractice.com. Okay, prayer pebbles. Now, if anybody has ever created any kind of an altar, things that they love, that they cherish, small, smooth pebbles collected from the seashore or purchased at any sort of a store can serve as prayer sacramentals. Before praying, take the pebbles in your hand one by one, pausing to remember your friends or special intentions, and place them in front of you in a half circle or some other design that you choose. Let them be a visual sign of the persons or the intentions for which you wish to pray for that day, okay? And when you've finished your time of prayer, leave them in a sacred pattern at your shrine, at your altar. And as you pass that during the day, you return to it in the evening, they will remind you of all of your prayerful intentions and your communion with your loved ones, right? You're praying for people, but it's a reminder. It's like putting a string on your finger, sort of. Spiritual practices also, you can explore the Spirit of God the same way you explore the spirit of another person. When you spend time in God's presence, you examine your heart and your mind with respect to God. You watch the world for signs of spirits. And every experience that you have to be able to listen to what God is saying. One of the other things that they were talking about on this website is just how cool it is when people come together and they listen, really listen to one another. You know, when somebody's got a problem or somebody has a great story to tell and you have the time and you've decided in your body, I'm here for this story. Isn't it amazing how the rest of the world goes away? Their exercise was, if you're in partnership, remember back to the first times that you were having a meal with that person. See if you can recreate some of that feeling with that person and become that listener. And you get into this bubble that just is created through the universe, through spirit, where you get to relearn about that person. You pick the person, partnership, friend, a colleague, a parent, a mate. But it really is true. When you think about it, all the rest of the world just goes away. And it is like this magnetic bubble that happens. You guys experienced that before? Where you are talking to someone and all of a sudden, whatever was chattering around in the room, let's say you're in a cafe, you don't hear it anymore. That's what I'm talking about. So that is a blessing. That is a gift to really listen to somebody too. Every human is meant to be a stepping stone closer to knowing God, better to discovering some new aspect of God. This is from The Human Condition by Thomas Keating. And there's another person who was a Vietnam vet, Marion Williamson, loves to get some of his poetry. And he says, pray. You want to get to that sacred divinity, that reunion with yourself, with people, with God. Pray before, during, and after from inside a spiritual center as you cherish your lover. Be brave and be careful that your energies bless and protect the most precious creature in whom God is adoringly pleased. Allow Holy Spirit to enter the domain so sacred that love may resonate with great power and divine will. Every human pleasure is meant to be a stepping stone to knowing God. Every little part is a stepping stone to knowing God better. So, these are all little ways that you can think about, well, I do that already. Then what's the search for? You're on the right path. Divine reunion. Divine, holy reunion. Those things that bring me back to my center, my God self. The things that remind me, reaching out and helping another person fills me up. Sharing that experience with my parent, my mate, my neighbor, my children, my grandchildren. Brings me back to that expression of love that is unique to me but given to me through God. Because I am a child of God, I express that love. That inside divinity is not muffled, really. You just have to stop long enough to listen to it. And if you go for a walk, take the Walkman out of your ears and listen to the birds. If you're a moving meditator, sometimes people are, rather than a seated meditator. Because you'll be amazed at what you're really hearing. You won't really tune. If you're listening for the birds, you won't hear the airplanes. You might hear the motorboat or the car, but it brings you back to the center of your God self. I've really been having to examine that right now. My mom is so cute, but boy, is she a queen, and she's sitting at this care center called Castle Ridge. It's very, rather fitting. And it's funny what she'll do for her sons, what that she won't do for us, but we are embracing this part of the journey with her. And she got up the first night and then the second afternoon, and she played a tune on the piano for us. So the first night she gets in there, and my brother puts her wheelchair up to the piano, and she plays Teach Me Tonight, and he's sitting there playing bass notes with his hand, because both my brothers are bass players, multi-instrumentalists. But I have had to ask for the strength of God and that love of God, and I have had to trust. I've had to trust that because I have gone through enough in my life that I'm glad I'm the age I am, because I know I'm going to get through all this. The house buying, mom, what do we do with her? Do we bring her home? It is a lot. I mean, you pick the first, 5 in the stressors? I think I got a couple of those going on. But I know my wisdom is such that I can find that God place, and I know what it makes me feel like to love her and to rub her bony hands that once played for me not so long ago. And, oh, that feels good. Oh, that smells good. Oh, what that does to my heart. To me, they all create divine reunions. It's all about the divinity and the holiness of life. It depends on the glasses you put on. What color are they? I really love to get the daily meditations from Abraham. Who's familiar with Abraham? Yay. Did you know you can get a daily meditation? Talk about the pursuit of trying to live in happiness. Yikes. It's all about, if you feel that love and that joy within you, you are on the right path. Why wait for it? It is only your perception that it doesn't exist, because it does exist right here inside of you. Okay, I went to go see Esther Hicks. That girl does not come up for air. She goes into her speaking, and honestly, I could not talk when I got out of there, because it is about what it is you desire and holding your intention on that desire, and knowing that with the universe's help and doing it in your own sacred divinity, that what you determine to have in your life will be coming towards you. If you make the mistake of what isn't coming into your life, you're putting your energy into what isn't in your life. So that's a whole nother talk. That's the law of attraction. If you embrace that divine reunion that you can experience by watching the birds, by listening to the cardinal, by holding a hand, by reaching out and helping the poor and the homeless. I mean, whatever is your personal mission, hold that in your heart. I have a dear friend, a drummer, who's going through a divorce, and he said, I'm losing my support system. It's not happy at home, but I'm losing my support system. And I talked to him about the heart math solution. You guys familiar with that too? Okay. And so you think of one of the happiest times in your life, and you have to hold it there until the ache around your heart goes away, at least slightly for a few minutes. But you do have a memory that brings you there. And the more you can think like that, you can replace that sorrow and that lens, that slideshow that gets you away from whatever it is you're thinking about that would be negative, and puts you into that place of, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And I said to him, you know what? You might feel like you can't do anything for her right now, but you can. You can pray. You pray for her. You're doing something. You're releasing your energy, and you're wishing her well and God's love and Godspeed. And you're not sitting there, I can't do anything, I can't do anything. We are not powerless. We are powerful beyond measure. Our light is so bright. Who are we to squish that light? You know that whole phrase, right? So this is what sacred reunion is to me. Whatever small thing, it's the little things that bring you to that place of divinity within yourself, that you then express in your own personal life, your own daily ritual, and then you bring it out into the city, and into the state, and the United States, and the world. And that love and peace, that change you wish to be in the world, starts by recognizing that it is about the things you do along the climb. Take a breath and smile and be happy about them. Thank you. Meditation. All right, I've been talking at you for a long time, you human beings. It's time for you to be a being right now, okay? And so I would just love it if you relaxed, and maybe if you had a little inkling of something in your own life that you thought of while I was talking about some of the things in my own life. That you sit for a minute and you take 3 breaths right now, going deeper in, feeling the bottom of your chair that is holding you. On one breath, and relax the pace of your breath. And 2, you invite angels, God, your guides, whoever you choose to pray to be a part of this. And 3, you listen to the flute and find the stillness inside of yourself. Think of the many times that you have had to give yourself permission to slow down long enough to find the peace in every day. Where life hasn't been about the climb and the journey. Where you found yourself living outside of your body and you say it. I am So I invite you to ground and feel that chair and feel that floor underneath you. And know that a ball of golden light is coming into this room, filled with divine love, touching each and every one of you. Saying you are a child of God. You are here to do great work. You are here at this moment and in this time to help. Help with the change of the world as we know it. To be that leader, to be that change you wish to see in the world. But before that change and that doing occurs, we embrace being. Or we can feel the heartbeat inside of us. And as we sit here and feeling this great peace, know that your guardian angels are there to put their hands on your shoulders. And they are filling you with healing love. And reminding you that I am never far away from you. That I help as your guide in this world. And your messages to God I carry in my heart. The divine reunion continues every day because of the hearts and souls of who each and every one of you are. And smile knowing that you do good work, that you are listening, that you are creating that time and that space to enjoy, to feel blessed, to recognize the holy and the sacred, and to embrace the reunions. This time, this room is filled with love. As you come back into your body, know that as children of God, we have united in this moment and created our reunion of our own. And we have done that in love. I invite you on one to feel the chair underneath you again. On two, feel more awake in your body. And three, you may open your eyes if you are ready. Blessed be. I'd like to feature Emily on an absolutely beautiful song that she does so well. Emily Albert-Stauning.
Heaven
Oh, honey. We'll ask for the offering now. Did you want to do that? Okay. And then Emily, right after the offering, we'll do our last song together. We're going to sing.
Another month bluebirds all day long.
Well,
I've never seen the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. I noticing the days hurrying by. Oh, and you're in love, my heart fly on blue days. I'm gone. Another month blue skies from now on. Blue skies from now on. I never seen the sun shining so bright. I never saw things going so right. I'm noticing the days hurrying by. Oh, and you're in love, my make a lie on blue days. All of them's gone. Another month blue skies from now on.
This is when the big band goes, so it's time to really dance. Come on. What does that mean? Yes. I like that we brought a big band for them, don't you think?
Pretty good for 99 cents on iTunes.
I know, not bad. All right, a little bit more and we'll take this sucker out. All right.
I've never seen the sun shining so bright. I never saw things going so right. I'm noticing the day